Many thanks for staying. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now to our very first story. Government says it has no intention of issuing a Eurobond this year, despite embarking on series of engagements with investors outside the country. Government last week began a non-deal roadshow with investors, which has taken them already to London and now in the United States of America. The previous administration had always used this approach with investors as a strategy to issue a Eurobond. But speaking to journalists after engagement with investors organized by the Whitaker Group in Washington, D.C., Vice President said they rather want to use it to consolidate investor confidence in the economy.
We've made a strategic decision this year not to issue a Eurobond. So we don't want to issue a Eurobond. We want to bring down the debt. We want to manage it better. But what we want is investment. We want investment in the Ghanaian economy. So the roadshow is to reassure our investors and to encourage more investment in Ghana. So we've done in London, we've done a little bit in Washington, we'll do in New York, we'll do in Boston. But this is just to let our people, investors in Ghana, know that Ghana is open for business and we are ready to welcome them. And we have the policies that will make sure that their investments are safe in Ghana. So that is the purpose of this particular non-deal roadshow. The reprofiling is part of a broader strategy to bring down the burden of the debt. As the minister says, the interest payments on the debt alone is $2.4 billion. And that is too high. So the strategy of reprofiling is just replacing shorter-term debt with longer-term debt and more expensive debt with less expensive debt. And this is what we started doing a couple of weeks ago, and it is proven very successful, and we hope to continue doing that. But ultimately, to be able to bring down your debt burden, there are two things you need to do. You need to grow your economy. When you grow the economy, it expands, your revenues grow, your GDP grows, and of course, your debt to GDP ratios will fall. So the burden of the debt will also fall. Strategically, you also have to bring fiscal discipline to bear. If you bring fiscal discipline to bear and manage your expenditures relative to your revenues, it means you're going to borrow less. And when you borrow less, the debt increases less. So you've got to have a combination of strategies where you're increasing your revenues, controlling your expenditures, bringing down your deficits, you're growing your economy, you're managing your exchange rate so that there is stability in it so that it doesn't add to the debt and so on. So these are all strategies that we are employing to bring down the debt.
And the Vice President has described the minority statement on the recent 15-year bond sale as mischievous and ignorant. Government has been heavily criticized by the minority in Parliament over how it went about raising over $2 billion from investors. The minority labeled the transaction as being shrouded in secrecy, cooked to favor one investor, and also did not have parliamentary approval. But speaking to journalists after engagement with investors in Washington, D.C., the Vice President said it is unfortunate for such comments to come from people who should know better.
The minority have never understood this economy, and it's just amazing that people on that side who were actually in charge of managing the economy will be making such statements. It shows ignorance. It really shows ignorance, and I am so sad when I hear that from people who should know better. And so they need to understand. Maybe they should read a little. They need to understand what took place. We issued a CD bond, and there's no secrecy to the matter. And it was very well invested in. The holders have invested many times in Ghana. The bonds that were in place when SECTECPE issued them, they bought them. 24% interest rate. This time it's 19%. So we are doing even much better. But this is what politics has been reduced to, trying to say things which really have no basis and are basically wrapped in ignorance. So I'm a bit sad, for Ghana and for them, because they are really demonstrating a lot of ignorance of the process of management of this economy. President Nana Akufo-Addo has set us to make Ghana the investment destination of choice, obviously the most business-friendly economy in Africa. And we take this very seriously. And I think, our first budget basically sets the ball rolling in that direction to make Ghana the most business. So I was basically telling the people gathered about what is happening in Ghana, the nature of the economy, the transformation that we want to take place, the initial steps we have taken in the last 100 days, and the promise of more to come, and the promise of transformation in our economy.
Meanwhile, minority spokesperson on the Finance Committee in Parliament, Casey Atto-Forson, has hit back at the Vice President for describing their views on government's recent domestic bond issuance as ignorant. He insists Dr. Bawumia's comments are not presidential. He was speaking with Joy News' Raymond Akwa.
The voice sounded like him, and I have no reason to doubt that is the Vice President who spoke. But I doubt that this matter can come from the mouth of a Vice President. Because, one, it is not presidential, as I said, and clearly the fact that we should recognize that the minority has a big responsibility given to them by the Constitution of this Republic as a major stakeholder in governance to raise concerns when they think that things have not gone well for the betterment of this country. Our concerns are simple. I heard the Vice President talking about the fact that one, the company concerned, Franklin Templeton, has been in the system. We've never denied that. We've said they've been in the system in the past. But what we are saying is the circumstances that this bond was issued is very much so very different from what we have seen in the past. Secondly, the Vice President made comment that in the past we issued a bond at 24%. Let me say clearly and ask the Vice President some few questions. Question one from me to the Vice President. Mr. Vice President, simple.
Okay, so I'll come to your questions, forgive me, because that's the detail that we will explore in this particular case. So you don't believe that the comments from the Vice President was presidential? Are they saying that it's not true? Did you display ignorance of the exact issues that we're talking about at this particular point in time? Since you've been in the ministry, did you deliberately feign knowledge of having to engage this Franklin Templeton in times past?
I think that's what I was trying to explain, that he was saying that we've engaged them with 24% in the past. And what I'm trying to say is that 24% in the past, the tenor wasn't 7 years. The tenor indeed wasn't 15 years. So you cannot compare a 2-year bond at 24% or 3-year bond at 24% to, 19.75% tenor bond.
So
you can also
19 for 15 years, you think is not a better deal than 24%? For how many years was it anyway?
He's making reference to a 2-year bond at 24%.
Yeah.
You cannot compare 2-year bond, 24% to that of, a 15-year bond at 19.75.
So
And away from that, government is considering setting up an independent body to regulate cases of piracy and intellectual property. Speaking in an interview after the launch of a data protection policy in Accra, Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekufo revealed that government is currently engaging key stakeholders in the communications sector to come out with practicable measures to help end the challenge of piracy.
Intellectual property is like property of any kind, and it needs to be protected and secured. We take so many things for granted. People posting things on YouTube, sharing media and all that, without thinking about the fact that we are infringing on other people's intellectual property. It is incumbent on all of us to recognize that things produced by people have owners. And so while there are laws which need to be enforced, all of us need to also, in our personal interactions. Be mindful of that. And technology has made it easier for us to navigate these spaces. It will continue. But as government, we need to enforce the law and then work with the rights holders to also see how they can also use technology to disseminate their intellectual property, their works to a wider audience, and through that also generate revenue from it. There are various institutions which are currently working on that. They need to hold on to it, but people also want to get access to that work that they have developed. So it is important that we find a way for them to work together. So we will facilitate that dialogue. We would ensure that their rights are protected. We will also ensure that the public, which wants access to that, has access to that. But the recognition and the rewards that must come to the rights owners must also be upheld. And so it is a stakeholder approach, multi-stakeholder approach, but we will do what we can to facilitate that dialogue. And then when the enforcement of the sanctions also start happening, I hope you won't squeal that we should go easy on them, because I'm sure in one way or the other, all of us are guilty of infringing on the rights of intellectual property owners. There are ways in which we will take steps to also safeguard against these breaches. The longer these things continue, the less confidence people would have in using these modes of communicating and banking and living and working. And it is not good for the growth of the industry. So we are particularly concerned about the increasing incidents and are working diligently with all stakeholders to ensure that every incident reported is investigated and the culprits are tracked.
Let's now turn our attention to the Ashanti region, where business activities in Kumasi are expected to be given a new lease of life as the city witnesses the opening of its first shopping mall. Hundreds of residents thronged to the 18,500 square meter edifice on Thursday to have a feel of facilities available there. Some residents are, however, skeptical about the future of relatively small and local businesses, especially around the mall catchment area. Prince Apia has been finding out from stakeholders what they anticipate with the opening of the new mall.
Located at Asokwa in the heart of the city, Kumasi City Mall sits on a total land area of 15.4 acres. It provides a modern location for business transactions, social interaction, and entertainment. So what do businesses operating around the mall area think about this novelty?
Yesterday they started building the mall. People also, they come and collapse the business around. But that is not my idea. My competition is before somebody will come around, follow out to the malls, and if he is inside car or totro or taxi, you'll see that some is here. So I will enter the mall, ask their price, come down, sit down on how to negotiate, and so that if somebody go, oh, inside mall is 10 or man is 9 or 8. So that means so at the end of the day I'll get something small too. Thank you very much.
I say basana obi wo ramo no kura mo na ogun se ubotire wa ha we dey obeba na obabu ni ti wa se uga so obi se wo won for shopping mall. Me be shopping mall. Nipa kro no onyira anytime bia no. What you say me was shopping mall onyira.
Because at first we are having Microsoft here. It brought plenty people here. And when they went, they vacate from here, our sales go down. So this more, it will boost our sales by all means. When you go to the central market, the tomatoes people, they are plenty there. About 15, they are online, but everybody gets his sales. So this mall is bringing me more sales.
Until the inception of Kumasi City Mall, relatively smaller entities provided one-stop shopping experience for residents in and outside Kumasi. Will this affect them in any way? Jemfua Owusu Echao is owner of Mini Mall Abebio Express.
It doesn't actually bring any competition to us. And the Kumasi Mall is not as big as the Westfield malls in the United Kingdom. Now people cannot actually break substandard goods to sell. Normally you see the ShopRite, the game, they sell original goods, as the indigenous person may say. So it also behoves on the other smaller malls to actually upgrade the quality of the products they sell. So at the end of the day, the consumer gets the quality that he needs to purchase and value for money. So I think it's a good sign that Kumasi is growing. And
there are concerns the mall will affect patronage even at the traditional and largely informal market centers. So are Kumasi Central Market, Asafo, and all the other satellite markets under siege? Economist at the Center for Economic and Business Research, Gordon Newlever-Samoa, thinks otherwise.
It will not have negative impact on the central market because central market has its own class of people who patronize the place. The shopping malls are normally being patronized by the middle and the upper class.
Meanwhile, board chairman of Kumasi City Mall, Kofi Sechere, is confident the facility offers relatively cheaper pricing to meet local demand.
We have done our bit by putting up the infrastructure. We now calling on the people of the Ashanti region and beyond to do their best.
How different would the operations be compared to the malls in Accra?
I don't think it would be any different. You know, we've got almost similar shops offering the market, and they will provide the offering that the market is looking for. We have put up the infrastructure. The tenants will respond to the customers.
I'm feeling good here, and I think Kumasi, yes, you will be. You will be. It's not, I like everything about here. Here is very big. You can feel free here. Acting here is nice. Yeah.
Gone are the days you have to go to Accra, to go to West Hills, Achimota Mall and those, but now that we have a branch in Kumasi, there's no more need to go to Accra to see all those beautiful things, you know. Yeah, so it's a nice experience.
New shopping mall is open here in Kumasi. Residents are excited, traders, businesses are highly expectant on the impact on this shopping mall on the local economy. Will these expectations be met? We'll live to see. My name is Prince Apia, reporting.
And back in Accra, Android phone users who want faster speed functions can heave a sigh of relief as they are being offered a new and more efficient option in smartphone experience. Global telecommunications giant MTN has partnered with Fero Mobile to bring to consumers the ultra-modern Fero L100 Android phone.
The Fero L100 is another entry point and affordable smartphone that allows smartphone subscribers to experience the bold new digital world. The L100, tagged as a game changer for mobile phones that support 4G, is super fast and comes with remarkable features at an incredible price. It has a 5.0-inch HD IPS screen with a dragon tail glass protection and an exceptionally long battery life. The phone sports a 5-megapixel camera in the front to capture some great selfies, as well as a 5-megapixel rear camera. The L100 is the most affordable 4G-enabled device available to mobile phone subscribers. MTN Ghana became the first mobile network operator to offer 4G service about a year ago. And with all the features that the Fero L100 provides, the telecommunication giants are excited at their partnership with Fero. Noel Kojo-Ganson is General Manager of Consumer Marketing at MTN.
We remain committed to leading the delivery of a bold new digital world to Ghanaians and our customers at large. We continue to invest heavily in our network and roll out innovative digital services aimed at meeting the demands of our subscribers. At this end, Fero today and at this launch is available in all our shops across the country, and you have the opportunity to walk in at your own time and pick up a Fero L100 for yourself.
Sandeep Narayanan is Regional CEO for Fero Mobile.
The L100 As you see, it's a beautiful device, but it's a 5-inch device which comes with it's the most affordable 4G device in the market currently. And it's a 5-inch device which comes with a 5-megapixel front and back camera. It comes with a selfie app for the selfie lovers. It also comes with a very long-lasting battery. Most importantly, like he mentioned, it is a Dragon Trail display screen. So what does this do? It increases the durability of the product compared to others.
4G is a wireless communications standard developed to provide up to 10 times the speed of 3G networks for mobile devices such as smartphones, tablets, netbooks, notebooks, and wireless hotspots.
Now, it's a display of financial intelligence and lots more is the Royal Edu Fair Banking and Finance Challenge 2017, which will air on Joy News from this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. It is an inter-university competition involving 16 top institutions in Ghana with the ultimate aim of improving the level of financial literacy among Ghanaians, starting with tertiary students. Royal Bank is the main sponsor of the event, and Chief Executive Osei Asafo-Adjei has been speaking with Joy Business.
I think it's all about knowledge and experience sharing. As it is generally agreed, the dichotomy between industry and the universities is very sharp, and it's not helping, because at the end of the day, the students will come out and join the industry, so they must appreciate and experience what obtains in the various industries, and that is why we think this is very important. It will bring them closer to the real banking experience that they should expect when they come out and join the industry. Those that will acquit themselves very well, at least we will give them some internship, and after that, if we find them to be suitable materials, we will continue to engage them fully.
ECG, VIP ECG. Finally, before we go, getting back to the Washington, D.C., at the annual IMF World Bank spring meetings, the Vice President says government will soon issue a 15-year bond to help clear the energy sector debts. The country is yet to clear significant amount of debts in the energy sector despite the introduction of levies to clear the debt. The Vice President has also been speaking about reviewing the Millennium Challenge Compact with the United States government.
Right now, ESLA, the energy sector levy, is dealing with all the liabilities of every, one of these SOEs. But what we will do is have one bond which will take off all those liabilities, and government will service those bonds with the ESLA revenue. So it's a much neater situation and allows the space for our energy companies, the VRAs and so on, to have much stronger balance sheets to grow again and to invest again and to attract investment again. In fact, in the area of energy, we also talked to the Millennium Challenge Corporation. When we got here, we have been trying to renegotiate the concession agreement. As you know, the NDC government had signed on to a compact as far as concession in ECG was concerned. So we've been talking to the Millennium Challenge Corporation on that matter. And we've renegotiated the agreement in a sense to make sure that this concession agreement, number one, has majority Ghanaian ownership of the concession. We've insisted on that. It has to be majority Ghanaian owned. And secondly, we have to have an assurance that there will be no layoffs at ECG as a result. And also it will be managed by Ghanaians. And so we have got those three elements that we have insisted on, and we have gotten an understanding on these three elements. And I think it's good news for Ghana, and it's good news for all the players in the energy sector.
And on that note, we draw the curtains down on this edition of The Marketplace. Many thanks for watching, and many thanks for keeping company with me throughout the week. My name is Emmanuel Apoaji. You have to join me again next Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Good afternoon.